Hey everyone, how's it going? For today's video, let's take an up-close and personal, in-depth look at the all-new 2015 Volkswagen Golf TDI SportWagen. So this is going to be a detailed, in-depth review of the Golf. We'll start it up, show the engine, get an exhaust clip, and go over the performance data, taking on a thorough road test, and show you many of the unique aspects of both the interior as well as exterior. And so, without further ado, let's go ahead and start her up, let her run. Standard equipment on the Golf SE is a remote access smart key system, so just keeping the key fob in your pocket, you're able to lock and unlock the vehicle via the touch sensors on both the driver and passenger side door handle. To lock, just tap the little depressed portion. The horn will chime, then after waiting a second, grab the handle once to unlock the driver's door, then once more to unlock the rest of the doors. When you unlock the car at night, the exterior lighting also automatically illuminates. This exterior color is known as Platinum Gray Metallic and comes paired with the SE's upgraded perforated Titan Black leatherette upholstery. Along with that smart key system, you also have push-button ignition, located in the center console. Just keep the key fob in the interior, put your foot on the brake and clutch, and hit the button to go. The Golf features rack and pinion steering with electric power assistance, routed through a highly detailed and sporty 3-spoke flat-bottom leather-wrapped steering wheel. It has a ratio of 13.6 to 1, takes 2.76 turns to lock, and has a turning circle of 35.8 feet. The look and feel reminds me of an Audi with a fantastic contour design and grip bolsters up top to keep things nice and engaging. There's plenty of high-gloss black trim surrounding the airbag, multifunction controls, and highlighting the lower split spoke, not to mention subtle satin brightwork and chrome VW medallion in the center. The SportWagen can be had with 4 different transmissions, largely based on which trim level and engine you go with. With the 1.8-liter gasoline turbo 4-cylinder, you get your choice of a standard 5-speed manual or 6-speed automatic transmission. The TDI, however, comes standard with a 6-speed manual, with Volkswagen's 6-speed DSG dual-clutch automatic transmission as an available option. Both automatics feature Tiptronic manual shifting in a sport mode. Stepping up to the SE also gets you a backup camera that automatically shows up in your infotainment system when you place the car in reverse. The camera is actually pretty cool, it's built into the handle on the rear hatch. Your parking proximity sensors will also display if equipped. We'll discuss more driving impressions as we go through the video, but overall the Volkswagen Golf is a pretty fun car to drive. Obviously there are more higher performance trim levels like the GTI and the Golf R, but even in this TDI form you don't have to sacrifice performance for wanting added efficiency. I thoroughly enjoyed my time with this car. I haven't driven the hatchback yet, hopefully we'll be able to test out some other variants later on, but the TDI wagon itself is around 120-150 pounds heavier than a regular Golf TDI 4-door hatchback. I don't think the everyday driver would notice any type of weight gain, but you get so much more practicality with the wagon. And the way the car drives, you really can't tell that you're driving a wagon unless you look in your rearview mirror or something like that. The steering is nice and light, it's easy to handle, and the gearbox is absolutely fantastic, extremely smooth, relatively short shifts, and it's very eager to take off. We'll talk more about performance later in the video. So let's go ahead and flip on these automatic LED headlamps, front fog lamps, and the hazards. All 4 windows are fully automatic. And we'll go ahead and check out the exterior. Last year, Volkswagen launched the 7th generation Golf for the 2015 model year. Recently joining that lineup is the all-new Golf SportWagen. When I found out I was going to have a chance to experience the car for a solid week, of course I was stoked. I've always been a big fan of both hatchbacks and wagons. Depending on the make and model, cargo and passenger hauling abilities of a wagon in this class rival that of many compact SUVs and crossovers, while a lot of the time they also offer a more rewarding driving experience. This is especially true with the Golf SportWagen. It just so happened I had a trip planned to Atlanta after taking delivery of this tester, so for a few days and 700 miles or so, I was really able to see what the new SportWagen was all about. I mean, let's be honest, here we have a diesel 6-speed wagon based on the award-winning Mark 7 Golf platform. What's not to like? Sure, it may not be for everyone, especially those new to diesels, but the TDI is surprisingly quiet and quick. The burly hum of the engine is unique and entertaining. It has a certain character about it that brings a smile to your face. The only telltale signs that set it apart visually are some unique wheel options, a lower red line, and subtle TDI badge on the tailgate. Until this test, I hadn't had as much experience with the previous SportWagen as I would have liked, let alone Volkswagen's current diesel models. Seeing and sitting in it for the first time, you'll notice that compared to its predecessor, the Jetta SportWagen, the Golf doesn't lose any of its sporty character. In fact, it takes it to the next level, beating the Jetta in pretty much every category. It's available in 3 trim levels, S, SE, and SEL, with 2 direct-injected and turbocharged 4-cylinder power plants that we'll cover in a bit. Of course, the SportWagen receives a complete styling makeover. The forward half is unmistakably Golf with a sloping hood, narrow grille, chiseled lines, and bulging fenders. The upper grille is finished off with a high-gloss black strip and a slender strip of chrome that's echoed within the headlamps, one of many horizontal design elements that give it a handsome, modern profile. This example features the optional lighting package, which replaces the standard halogen headlamps with bi-xenon HID headlamps with LED daytime running lamps and an adaptive front lighting system. It's a $995 option and one I would highly suggest going for. Not only are they super stylish, but they greatly benefit nighttime visibility. The main beam turns with the steering wheel up to 15 degrees in either direction, illuminating curves in the road ahead above 6 miles an hour. Automatic halogen cornering lamps come on if you're making a sharp turn, such as an intersection. After you take off and bring the wheel back in line, the cornering lamps gently fade out. It's so cool. The roof rails are black on the S and SE, while the SEL gains silver rails for a distinct look. A panoramic sunroof is standard on all models but the S. This example also features the driver assistance package, which adds front and rear parking sensors and a forward collision warning system. Compared to the Jetta SportWagen, the Golf is 1.1 inches longer and 0.7 inches wider. However, vehicle height has been reduced by 1.1 inches. The tidier package leads to improved aerodynamics and a low drag coefficient of just 0.31. The new MQB chassis architecture that provides the basis for the Mark 7 Golf lineup can also be found in the new SportWagen. With MQB, there's a fixed relationship between the front wheel centerline and the firewall area, which means the front wheels on the new SportWagen are pushed forward by 1.7 inches, yielding a premium cab backward look, enhancing its already dynamic stance. The unibody features 2 solid-mounted subframes with bolt-on front fenders. One advanced construction technique known as laser clamp welding applies unique weld patterns, which VW refers to as wobble seam, to enhance strength in tight areas, offering up to 4 times the strength of a typical spot weld. The body and chassis is composed of stamped steel panels of various thicknesses and compositions that incorporate a larger percentage of high-strength and ultra-high-strength steel. This allows much of the chassis to be constructed with thinner materials, which decreases weight without any loss in strength. In fact, despite a host of new convenience and safety features in addition to an enhanced crash structure, the new Golf SportWagen weighs 137 pounds less than its predecessor. The Golf SportWagen has a number of different wheel styles and sizes available, ranging from 15 to 18 inches in diameter. S and SE trims have two different wheel packages depending on whether you go for the TDI or the 1.8T. The 18-inch wheel and tire package, a part of the top-line SEL, is the same for both engines. The SE TDI features the 17 by 7-inch Geneva split 7-spoke aluminum alloy wheels with bright silver painted finish. They're wrapped in 225/45 all-season tires that can hold a little over 0.8 G of lateral acceleration. Bringing the car to a stop from 60 miles an hour takes 117 feet thanks to 4-wheel disc brakes, with standard 3-channel ABS and electronic brake force distribution. The ventilated front discs measure 11.3 by 1 inch, while the TDI's marginally smaller solid discs in the rear measure 10 by 0.4 inches, compared to 10.7 inches for the 1.8 liter. Underneath the SportWagen, there's a strut-type independent front suspension with lower control arms and a 22mm diameter anti-roll bar. However, the rear suspension actually differs between the 1.8T and the TDI. The 1.8 has a multi-link rear suspension with a 19mm diameter anti-roll bar, while the TDI has a simple torsion beam. I would expect the 1.8 to handle a bit better in the corners for this reason, but I never found fault with the TDI's ride quality and suspension tuning. It soaked up the bumps where appropriate without making it too soft. After all, even though it's not meant to be a GTI, the tuning and setup still feels tight, firm, and composed over a variety of surfaces, with a priority put towards comfort, more than adequate for daily use and long trips. All 2015 Golfs do benefit from some GTI goodness in the form of the XDS cross differential system, which is said to work like an electronic substitute for a mechanical limited slip differential. It applies the brakes to the driven inside wheel as needed to reduce understeer and create a better handling Golf than before. Overall length is 179.6 inches, with a width of 70.8 inches and a height of 58.3 inches, riding on a 103.7-inch wheelbase. Total curb weight for the manual is around 3,199 pounds, with the automatic being 47 pounds heavier. The Golf is available with your choice of gas-fed or diesel power plants. Both are turbocharged. The TDI Clean Diesel is powered by a thoroughly revised 2-liter turbocharged and intercooled inline 4-cylinder. The design features a cast iron block and an aluminum alloy cross-flow cylinder head for increased thermal management. The TDI also uses a forged steel crankshaft, dual overhead cams, 4 valves per cylinder, direct fuel injection, dual variable valve timing, and a 16.2:1 compression ratio. It develops 150 horsepower at 3,500 RPM and 236 pound-feet of torque at 1,750 RPM, representing a 10 horsepower increase for 2015. Cylinder bore spacing remains the same as before, but the new engine emits 40% fewer emissions and reduces internal friction by 15% due to a variety of clever engineering tactics. The intercooler is integrated directly into the intake manifold, increasing throttle response and helping further reduce emissions. The diesel has 20 less horsepower than the 1.8-liter TSI 4-cylinder, which is now the standard engine for non-diesel models, replacing the naturally aspirated 2.5-liter 5-cylinder. The diesel also benefits from an additional 52 pound-feet of torque when comparing the TDI's 6-speed and the TSI's 5-speed manual gearbox. Torque increases for the TSI if you opt for the automatic, topping out at 199 pound-feet, but that's still 37 pound-feet less than the TDI's peak torque. 0 to 60 times are likely to be in the 8.5 second range with the manual gearbox, but it feels a lot quicker in day-to-day driving as the diesel's added torque is eager to get the Golf up and going, especially around town. It's been said too that the automatic or the dual clutch transmission available for the TDI actually shaves a little bit off that 0 to 60 time. The Golf carries a 13.2 gallon tank and requires the use of either unleaded gasoline for the TSI or ultra-low sulfur diesel fuel for the TDI. EPA estimates for the TDI range between 31 miles to a gallon in the city and 43 on the highway when equipped with the manual gearbox. That's an increase of 6 miles in the city and 7 on the highway compared to the aforementioned gas engine. The automatic achieves nearly identical numbers but loses 1 mile in the highway rating. The thing that surprised me the most about this vehicle was its high quality and downright luxurious interior, which to me is somewhat comparable with entry-level Audis, of course lacking some of the finer elements such as genuine leather and aluminum trim. Sporting a fresh design for 2015, the Golf lineup incorporates the latest in technology, safety, and occupant comfort. Despite the decreased vehicle height, clever packaging has led to nearly 3 cubic feet of additional passenger volume, which, in addition to the panoramic roof, creates a very roomy and open-feeling cabin. Volkswagen really did a fantastic job of material execution. You have plenty of soft-touch material across the doors, dash, and areas of the center console. The storage pockets are lined in felt, and all of your power accessories, including your locks, windows, and mirrors, are all located on the door. By far, one of my favorite interior styling elements is the faux brushed aluminum trim across the doors, dash, and center console. I'm not sure how they did it. I mean, it's definitely a plastic material, but the way it's all integrated and the way the brush lines flow across the dash, it looks so high quality to the point where I don't even care that it's not real, and it's almost funny to say that. It's beautiful in person. In addition to the standard LED interior illumination, this vehicle also has the lighting package like we talked about, which adds more ambient lighting throughout the interior. The strips across the doors are really cool, and they're actually embedded in that faux aluminum trim. The interior can be had in 2 different colors, either this Titan black or a light beige. This SE also features the VTEX leatherette upholstery with perforations across the middle, ribbed sections, and a combination of manual and power adjustments. There's also a storage cubby in front of each seat for some smaller items. The detailing is pretty good, and the seat surfaces should be pretty durable and easy to clean up. There's manual lumbar as well as adjustments for both the headrests and seat belts. On the drive down to Atlanta, the Golf proved to be a pretty good traveling car. It's also fairly comfortable for what it is. The seats are definitely on the firmer side and combine the manual and power adjustments like I said a second ago. The manual adjustments are limited to the height adjustment and the fore and aft adjustment. Recline is powered. You do, however, get a 12-way adjustable power seat with the SEL. There's good lateral support up top and down below. I could ask for a little bit of extra lumbar, but that's just a really minor thing. Throughout the interior, though, the ergonomics are fantastic, with good sight lines for the infotainment system and instrument cluster, and everything is within pretty easy reach. You have a prominent dead pedal in the bottom left right there. To the left-hand side of the steering column, you have a little storage compartment with an integrated SD card slot. The steering wheel is manually tilting, telescoping, and the dash and the entire upper portion is wrapped in soft-touch material. Also to the left are your lighting controls like you saw at the beginning of the video, as well as the interior lighting dimmer. It's all finished off with a light gray headliner and the SE's standard panoramic glass roof. So let's go ahead and see how she sounds. Go ahead and shut her up. Good solid panels. Standard equipment on the SE and SEL is a premium 9-speaker Fender audio system with rear-mounted subwoofer. With powerful lows and crisp highs, it's a fantastic audio system. It's all routed through a 5.8-inch LCD display with capacitive touch feature and infotainment system. It incorporates some smartphone-like functionality, and I'll show that in just a second. If you want navigation, you have to step it on up to the SEL trim. At the leading edges of the A-pillars, you have small quarter windows for better front-end visibility. The A-pillars are also wrapped in the same cloth material as the headliner, grip handles, soft padded visors with a card holder, and LED illuminated vanity mirrors. The rear view mirror is manually dimming. In the top, you have your hands-free Bluetooth microphones, the automatic controls for the sunshade, sunroof, not to mention all of your LED interior illumination, including reading lamps, turning on with the doors, and individually activating the rear lights. I love the fact that you can opt for the full panoramic sunroof. It comes standard on the SE trim, but especially when opened, it allows a lot of light and fresh air to come into the cabin. The little wind deflector automatically pops up. The sunshade doesn't completely block out the sun, but it basically diffuses the light through the interior, so you still get a little bit of extra light warmth. This infotainment system, like I said earlier, does not come equipped with navigation. You have to go to a higher spec trim level for that, but it offers pretty easy functionality overall. It also has a built-in sensor to where when you swipe your hand, it'll actually expand some of the menus, which is pretty cool. The only other system that I've seen use that kind of technology is Cadillac's Q system. But you have your main functions located on easy-to-see buttons to either side: radio, media, telephone, voice commands, mute, sound, car, as well as the system main menu. If you like, you can also hit the menu button to the far right, and that brings up the home screen where it also lists all the available vehicle commands. You can use the tune knob to scroll through them and push down when you found an option. So by clicking band, it'll bring you to this screen where you can select between Sirius XM satellite radio, FM, or AM. List the available stations, tune, change the view options, similar media, and of course, setup off to the far right. In the top, you can manually go between the stations, as well as tag songs. You can also use a little bit of smartphone-like technology with the scrolling between the different preset stations. Clicking on media will allow you to select between your non-radio audio features. Things like your iPod auxiliary integration, hands-free Bluetooth streaming, SD card input, and your CD player. The CD player is located in the glove box. Another thing that's pretty cool is that, of course, if you had your iPod or iPhone or whatever actually hooked up, hardwired into the system, you can go into the track selection with genre, artists, things like that, but with this Bluetooth system, I find this pretty cool. It still displays the artist and song information, so it's a little bit of extra convenience, really, and I haven't noticed that in too many systems. Up top, you have a digital clock, status of your Bluetooth telephone, and the outside temperature. Previous, next, rewind, fast forward, pause, and setup off to the far right, including your sound adjustments. Bass, mid-range treble, balance fade, subwoofer adjustments. Down below, your hands-free Bluetooth telephone, previous calls, your contacts list, and dial numbers, so you can also store favorites there. Bring up your settings for more detailed features. I also love how the menus like twist and flip and all that. It's pretty neat. Help.
These telephone commands are always available. Dial number, call name, or say call followed by the name of the contact.
Cancel.
Voice operation canceled.
So the voice command system is actually pretty cool. Depending on which menu that you're in, you'll have custom tailored commands for that screen, and as you saw, it lists everything out. You can mute the audio system, bring up your audio adjustments again. The car screen is for vehicle diagnostics, as well as the driver info system, trip computer, fuel data, things like that. So in a nutshell, that's a basic overview of the infotainment system available in the all-new Golf. Coming down the center stack, the SE features a single-zone climate control system with 3 easy-to-use rotary knobs. Temperature off to the left, fan speed in the middle, different zones off to the far right including front defrost, your rear defrost up here, AC, recycling, not to mention 3-stage heated seats for both the driver and passenger. The trim level right above this one actually has a dual independent zone climate control. In the bottom, you have a pretty decent little storage cubby with grippy material, extends back quite a ways. It also has your media input. Across the center console, parking sensors off to the far right in this particular model, 12-volt power outlet, adjustable cup holders, the e-brake has some high gloss black trim to it, and you also have a full padded center console that can be raised and locked for better occupant comfort. Has a modest storage well, additional 12-volt power outlet. As far as the steering wheel, on the right hand side you have your hands-free telephone controls and voice commands, not to mention a little driver info system that shows up in that small digital display in between the speedometer cluster. Use the silver button to go between the different menus, and then OK to make your selection. Then use the up and down arrows to go between the different sub-features. Cruise control, radio volume, as well as your track selection, rewind, fast forward, and seek for your radio. Control for the front and rear wipers, and to the left, your high beams and turn signals. Just like you would find in the front, the back seat features excellent build quality. The doors are highlighted by soft touch material up top, in the middle, and on the armrest. You also have the carpeted storage portion. Like I showed you in the front, on the brushed section across the door panel you had the little LED accent lights. You don't have that for the back seat, so it's just a front seat exclusive feature. Like you would expect for a wagon, the back seat room is also pretty good, especially compared to a sedan counterpart. Similar styling patterns like you find in the front seat, and it's very open overall. But let's go ahead and hop in on the other side and check out interior space and amenities. Like we've talked about so far, with the redesign of the all-new Golf, passengers also get a lot more interior space. It may not seem like it just from dimensions and stuff compared to its predecessor, but you'll definitely notice a little bit of an increase back here. You do sacrifice just a little bit of cargo space, and I'll talk about that during the trunk portion next, but overall it's a very accommodating back seat, I believe. I'm 5'10", with a comfortable seating position for myself up front. I probably have a couple inches or so of wiggle room, and up top, say maybe about 1.5 inches or so, depending on if you have your headliner up against this part of the frame or in the middle portion of the glass roof. Otherwise, you'll have quite a lot, maybe 4.5 inches of headspace, something like that. And I also like the panoramic sunroof, like I talked about earlier, with the SE package, especially in the back seat. It gives the interior very open, very airy feeling appearance, so it's not claustrophobic at all. I mean, I don't think the Golf is a claustrophobic car to begin with, but it just adds a nice touch of modern luxury and style to it, I guess. Down below, you do have 2 air registers to help keep everything nice and ventilated back here. You also have the LED reading lamps, grip handles up top, coat hooks not only in the grip handles but in the B-pillars as well, side curtain airbags, and a fold-down armrest. It does have some nice padding, good squish to it, 2 cup holders, and you can also expand this out for a trunk pass-through to extend some larger items through if you didn't want to actually fold the entire seat mechanism down. You can sit 3 people back here. There are 3 adjustable headrests, but the middle person's going to have a little bit of a harder time unless they're a smaller person or even a child because of this large drivetrain hump. You're going to have to straddle your legs to either side, which, depending on how big the 3 passengers are back here, can make a little bit of a hindrance to leg space. One of the main benefits of having a wagon is the preserved rear seat headroom. I mean, there's really a lot of headroom back here, especially since the roof comes straight all the way into the back. You're not losing anything from the rake of a roof or anything like that, so the back seat space is very well preserved just in the wagon nature. Overall comfort is pretty good too. It's not quite as comfortable and supportive as the front. I could ask for a little bit of extra lower back support here, but it's definitely a nice place to sit. I also love the detailing. It doesn't skimp back here. Just like you find in the front, you'll have the perforated accents, the color accent stitching, the little rib portions, so it's also kind of sporty as well. The armrests are a nice touch, the padded door panels are a nice touch, so overall I could definitely sit back here. This is a car I would love to take on a trip, and I actually did. So yeah, you would definitely like it if you're looking for a traveling car. So that's pretty much it. Let's go and check out the rest of the vehicle. The biggest reason for going the wagon route has to be the increased cargo space behind the rear seat, making it a far more practical option if you're going to be transporting larger items. Open up the hatch and you'll find a substantial 30.4 cubic feet of space. There's even a multi-position cargo cover to make sure items are protected from the sun and prying eyes. You can fold the 60-40 split rear seat by two convenient levers located to either side of the cargo area, expanding total space to an enormous 66.5 cubic feet. With a wide aperture of 40.6 inches and a load height of just 24.8 inches, it's also a far more practical vehicle overall than its Jetta predecessor. The seats fold nearly flat, trying to maximize as much cargo space as possible, and for total utilization you can also take out that privacy cover. For a little bit of extra practicality in the back, there's storage pockets to either side of the main well in the middle, which holds your temporary spare tire and the available Fender subwoofer. There's also an AC outlet and a 12-volt power outlet. The passenger seat features the same combination of power and manual adjustments, just like you'd find in the driver's seat, including the height adjustment and adjustable lumbar. The glove box is locking. Has a pretty decent amount of space. It's also lined in soft velour. Your SD card input and CD drive is also located in there. If you're looking for a practical and thrifty vehicle but want something that's fun and built with quality, the Golf TDI SportWagen may be the ideal choice. It blends premium styling and features with stellar fuel economy. In my eyes, it's a great overall value. Well everyone, I hope you enjoyed the in-depth look at the 2015 Volkswagen Golf TDI SportWagen. Be sure to stay tuned next time, there's a lot more where that came from. Take care everybody.